Now, the zoo is looking at ways to improve safety at that exhibit. And we wanted to know about the safety of zoos right here in West Michigan. And this morning, we're finding out what they do to keep visitors and animals safe. Andy McIntyre is the Chief Administration Officer for John Ball Zoo. He's with us this morning to talk about that. I imagine every zoo administration officer's nightmare to see what happened on Saturday.
Yes, you know, I actually have friends that work down there, and my first reaction was just to let them know that we're thinking of them. This is a tragic scenario that nobody wants to have happen.
What does John Ball Zoo have in place if an incident like this were to occur?
You know, first and foremost, we're going to set up safety programs, protocols, and training so that all staff in the facilities are designed to prevent it and whenever we can. If it were to happen, we do have an emergency firearms team, like you've heard about it at Cincinnati as well, that could respond. And visitor, staff, safety is always the first thing we're going to think about. And that's what we're going to look out for in any kind of situation.
So after Saturday, do you guys go back and recheck or go through protocol and training?
Sure. I mean, we regularly do that. We do drills on a regular basis for any kind of scenario, whether it be weather-related emergency, fire in a building, any animal-related emergencies, and any circumstance like this, just like we regularly would, sort of sparks our review again. And that's what we've always been doing.
In Cincinnati on Saturday, it was 10 minutes where the child was in the enclosure. How quickly can the response team act?
It depends on the exhibit itself. Obviously, there's distances that people need to travel with items in order to help. A lot of times it depends on the animal as well. I know that for those individuals there, it must have been heartbreaking to watch and evaluate as they were trying to figure out what decision to make.
How about for parents of kids out there if this were to happen? I know my initial reaction would be if my child was in that enclosure, I would jump in and try and save them. Is that something obviously you don't recommend?
Well, anytime there's a dangerous animal, we recommend, you know, leaving it to the zoo staff to handle the situation. I think one of the things we pride ourselves on is an interaction for guests at the zoo, and sometimes that interaction is with staff. And wherever people can bring any concerns or questions they have to our staff at the zoo, that's a very appropriate reaction in a case like this, to find a staff member immediately.
And nothing like this has happened at John Ball Zoo?
We've not had a person end up in an enclosure with a dangerous animal.
Andy McIntyre, the Chief Administration Officer at John Ball Zoo, joining us this morning, going over their safety protocol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We also checked in with Binder Park Zoo to see what precautions they take there. Binder Park says they followed not only USDA safety standards when it comes to building their enclosures, but also criteria from the Association of Zoos and Aquarium, which is more strict. The zoo says they've never had anyone get into one of their enclosures. They have an emergency plan they practice routinely, and with the weekend incident, they recheck their own exhibits for safety. It's